The United States cracked down hard on China when Donald Trump was the president. Now, despite him being out of the Oval Office, his fellow Republicans are continuing his legacy. The Republicans are bringing in a law that would bar Chinese investment into critical infrastructure in Texas. Despite Joe Biden's disastrous China policy, the GOP is working hard to push against Chinese investment into the US. Hi and welcome to TFI Global, the foreign affairs and geopolitical analysis arm of the TFI Media Group. I am your host Rohan Sachdeva, and in this video, I'll tell you how the Republicans are doing what they can to decouple the US from the Chinese economy. Top Republican leader Donald Trump may no longer be the US president, but the GOP will still not allow China to target the oldest democracy in the world with predatory investments. In fact, Republicans in Texas are bringing in a law that would bar Chinese investment into the state's critical infrastructure. The legislation, introduced by Republican State Senator Donna Campbell, would ban individuals or companies connected with China, Iran, North Korea, or Russia from entering into contracts that concern the state's critical infrastructure. However, the main target of the Lone Star Infrastructure Protection Act, as the legislation is being called, is to get rid of Chinese investment into critical Texan infrastructure. Texas is actually moving ahead with the legislation as it has already been passed unanimously by the Texas Senate. Now, if the state's House of Representatives also passes the bill, then the legislation would come into effect from the 1st of September. The Lone Star Infrastructure Protection Act aims to protect Texas infrastructure such as the state's electric grid, communication system, cybersecurity system, and water treatment facilities. Yet, Campbell cited a proposed wind farm in Texas's Valverde County as a reason for bringing in the bill. The land on which the wind farm project has been proposed is owned by GH America Investment Group, a Chinese-owned company founded by Sun Guangjin, a billionaire who previously served in the Chinese military. The Epoch Times reported, officials and experts have raised alarm over the Chinese project, saying it poses a threat to US national security. Sun is currently the richest person in western Xinjiang, where China is currently running concentration camps and committing genocide against Uyghur Muslim minorities. As per Forbes, Sun has a net worth of $1.9 billion. His investment company had acquired land in Texas to build wind farms. The proposal is to install 50 to 130 wind turbines. The location is situated about 30 miles away from the US-Mexico border and near the Laughlin Air Force Base, which is the largest US Air Force pilot training facility. This is a clear effort to exclude Chinese investment from critical American infrastructure. A recent annual threat assessment by the US intelligence community claimed that China's cyber capabilities, at a minimum, can cause localized, temporary disruptions to critical infrastructure within the United States. Campbell said, "Why do they want to put this in Valverde County, where the wind doesn't really blow? Why is this area, where the turbine farm was going to be, just 65 miles away from our Laughlin Air Force Base, a strategic pilot training base?" Across the world, it is now being realized that the power sector forms a crucial part of critical infrastructure. Given the turbulent times we are in and the growing level of geopolitical hostility, it is only prudent to maintain sufficient self-control and a sense of sovereignty towards such infrastructure. This is exactly what the proposed legislation in Texas seeks to achieve. It is not a good idea to hand over such infrastructure to foreign interests, especially if you share a tense relationship with a rogue foreign regime like Communist China. Republicans in Texas are therefore pushing to get rid of Chinese investments into the state's critical infrastructure. While the Biden administration remains friendly towards China, Republicans are doing what they can to decouple the US from the Chinese economy.